Hello, hello. It's Gordon Firemark, the podcast lawyer. I do entertainment media law, and I just decided to go live because I had a interaction with a prospective client. It's actually not a case that I'm going to be able to take, but it's an astonishingly brazen, audacious, bold, obnoxious move. And I wanted to share a little bit about that because it's mind-blowing that people think that this is somehow okay or that they're not going to get caught. So this fellow called me up. He's a YouTuber and a creator of content around a particular subject matter expertise. He's an expert, and he talks about this particular field in his YouTube videos, and he does demonstrations, and he does explainers and setup videos and all these kinds of things. And a company that is a competitor, essentially, of his in the business world, decided for some reason that they were going to take his video and they were going to run Facebook ads of these videos. They basically took the videos from YouTube, posted them on their Facebook account under their name, and then they turned those posts into ads on Facebook. And it happened not just once, but 10 different videos. So this fellow, reached out to me and asked, can I sue? And it's rare that I get an inquiry like this, can I sue, where my answer is totally unequivocal, right? I'm looking at the facts as laid out by this fellow, and there's always a possibility that he's not stating all of the facts. But in this case, I looked at it and I said, hell yes, you can absolutely sue. This is textbook copyright infringement going on. Textbook. It is absolutely a ripping off of his content. The way copyright works, he owns the material the moment he creates it, and he does not have to go register it in order to be protected against this kind of thing. All he has to do is create it. Then he uploads it to YouTube. And YouTube's terms of service do allow YouTube some generous flexibility with how the material is used, and it can be relinked and it can be embedded if it's a YouTube embed. But that's not what these folks did. They downloaded the videos somehow and posted them as their own content on Facebook, direct uploading to Facebook, from what I could tell. And I looked at a few of these videos, and it's the same guy and it's the same exact video, but they've stolen it, absolutely taken it and used it for their own. And it's just astonishing that that's what's going on. So I said, absolutely copyright infringement. It's probably also a form of unfair competition called, I think it's called reverse passing off, where you're basically passing off someone else's goods or services as your own. And that's another violation of the Lanham Act, which is the trademark and unfair competition law at the federal level. And it's just it blows my mind that this is what can go on. So if you're ever thinking about doing something like this, go ask permission. Don't just take somebody's content and repurpose it, especially not for commercial use. There is no way this qualifies as any defensible kind of use. It's not copyright fair use. This is not about freedom of speech. This is about taking somebody else's intellectual property and using it without their consent. The issue is, there are a bunch of issues here. I'm not going to get too deep into it because I don't want to compromise the potential plaintiff's case. But, there's money damages. This company's making big profits. They're getting, thousands, if not millions of views. They're making millions of dollars in revenue from selling their products using these ads that have been running now for quite a number of weeks, actually. And, so, my advice to this fellow was go register those copyrights and find a lawyer. Find a lawyer who can sue in the place where this lawsuit needs to happen. In this particular case, that's in a state different from where he lives, and so it makes it a little uncomfortable to have to hire a lawyer at a distance. But I think he's got if not a slam dunk, I think he's got a really, really solid case against this company. And if they're smart, they're going to come to the table and offer some, real compensation to make up for it, so they don't end up having to talk about their profit margins in a courtroom in front of a jury and things like that. Anyway, that's just where, anyway, I can't take the case because it's not a California situation. So that's why I'm not handling it. And I don't do litigation. But, as an advisor to folks who work in these areas, if you post your stuff and you see other people using it, there are a few things you can do. One is the DMCA takedown. You can notify the company wherever the material is being re-uploaded and tell them, this is my content, take it down now. And if that company doesn't want to be in the crosshairs of a lawsuit, they take it down right away. That's part of what the DMCA safe harbor allows. You can, of course, send them a cease and desist demand letter requiring that they take it down, stop using it, and pay for the privilege that they've already made use of. You could take them straight to court. And, of course, you can also point to them and ridicule them a little bit. Be careful about that. You don't want to get into a situation where they sue you for libel or slander or something like that. But sometimes social pressures are the easy way to get some satisfaction in these things. So, look, bottom line, don't use other people's stuff without their permission unless you're darn sure that it falls under a legitimate defense or excuse or exception in copyright law, in trademark law, in unfair competition law. And really just be more careful about these. Folks, we've got to do better. Intellectual property is valuable stuff. So I have a commenter says, nice to see me back. Found one of your videos helpful and subscribed long ago. Issue lately has been judging whether the use of pictures I've taken would be considered commercial. Well, certain exposures. Thank you for that. I'm going to bring your question up on there. So, well, I'm talking about, and I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name, but you missed the start, but I'm talking about a situation where a YouTuber has had his videos, 10 of his videos lifted by a company that's using them in their advertising, literally reposted on Facebook as ads. And I'm just stunned at how audacious and brazen this kind of theft is. So the question about yours, you said whether your use of pictures you've taken would be considered commercial. So this comes up in, hi, Daniel. Thank you for sharing your name, Daniel. The question of commercial use is an interesting one. It typically comes up in a context around, well, it can be in the context of the advertising that I'm talking about being the kind of use that is just not defensible as fair use or something like that. But I think what you're talking about is you've taken a photograph of a person, presumably out in a public place where you don't have you don't have a model release signed or something like that. And now you want to use those images, in a way that might be construed as commercial. And thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Yeah, the question of commerciality is an interesting one because in the context of privacy law, what we're really talking about is commercial in the sense that what you're using it in is an ad or a promotion of a particular transaction or something like that, where you're selling something. If you're just monetizing a YouTube video or something like that, that's not really the kind of thing that we consider a commercial use. After all, newspapers are allowed to report on things and use photographs of people, even though they're selling the newspaper and there are ads in the newspaper. The newspaper itself is a form of speech that is protected, freedom of the speech in the press. So the same kind of thing might apply in your situation. But if you're talking about using it in an ad, or if you're selling like prints, reprints, posters of these images, that probably is going to be looked at as a commercial use. So a lot really depends on the specifics of what you're doing. And best I can suggest, Daniel, is reach out to a lawyer in your area who's familiar with these topics, privacy, right of publicity, if the state you're in has that, and get some proper analysis done before you do. Or go get signatures from the people who are depicted and avoid the problem altogether. But yeah, these are the kinds of things that we as media creators need to be thinking about and doing. Daniel, I really am grateful for that super chat. I think that may be the very first super chat I've ever received while doing a live, and it feels really wonderful. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, I wasn't really planning to stay on for long. I just sort of wanted to express my astonishment at these brazen copyright thieves, and counsel against that kind of thing in the future. If you're going to look, if you find a video that you love and you really want to, show some respect for the author of that video, the creator of that video, it is fine to share it, link to it, embed it somewhere, because that is taking the viewer back to the YouTube place where it lives. But if you're going to download that and repost it on your own platform or on your own, in your own ads or posts, and not give the attribution and not, show the love, as it were, I think that is absolutely wrong. And under copyright law, it is absolutely wrong. And under that false advertising, not false advertising, what's it called? The unfair competition, the creating a false impression as to the origin or source of the material, is also an actionable kind of a claim in the federal systems. And there may be state law claims as well available. So it's really something to be thoughtful and mindful about. Don't steal other people's stuff, bottom line. And with that, I'm going to say thanks for watching, signing off for today, and I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday, at 4 p.m. Pacific time with another episode of Legit Podcast Pro, when I will be talking about, I think it's 9 or 10 tips on the legal stuff you need to have done and right in when you're launching a podcast or a YouTube channel. So that'll be our topic for tomorrow. Actually, let me leave the top legal tips every new podcaster or creator needs to know. That's the topic. So hope you can join me then. I do it every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, the live recording of the Legit Podcast Pro podcast. And that is also published, of course, as an audio podcast on Captivate.fm and on my various platforms. So thanks for watching. Thank you, Daniel, for the small tip for the past help. I appreciate that, and hope to see you again soon. Have a great night.